This is Michael Gerace with Clearview Sewer Cams. This is May 7th, 2024. We're going to pause for just a moment. We've got an airplane going over. It is May 7th, 2024. We are performing a video sewer inspection through a 4-inch ABS plastic mainline sewer cleanout. And we are located at 3915 Deervale, Deervale Drive, Sherman Oaks, California, 91403. We have our 4-inch ABS plastic mainline sewer cleanout right here. There's some cuts in the driveway that appear that they replaced the sewer line, but we'll find out right now. We have a cut right in front of us and another one down by the adjacent to the street by the swale at the end of the driveway. We're going to insert our camera and zero out our camera monitor so we get a good accurate reading. We're going to begin running through. Appears to be brand new ABS plastic, or newer ABS plastic. I don't know when they put this in, but it does appear to be newer ABS plastic pipe and fittings. All appears to be in fair and maintainable condition. The joints appear to be connected properly. This could be trenchless piping. It does look like it's rolled, so more than likely the piping is trenchless, where they pulled a brand new sewer line from one hole to the other by means of pipe bursting. Now we're going to go in and we're going to transition right here, right at the property line down by the end of the driveway, to the 6-inch vitreous clay sewer line. And then we're going in, and it appears that we have a very large amount of root intrusion in here. Going to try and push over it if we can. Okay, we were able to push over it, and we're pushing out to the city sewer, toward the city sewer. And then we have there's a large crack in the vitreous clay here. We couldn't really see too much. When we pull back, we'll take a look at the other area. But there was a large amount of root intrusion. There's a large amount of root intrusion here. And this vitreous clay fitting or section of piping is cracked. So we're going to try and push out to the city sewer if we can get out there. And we've got a lot of roots all the way down to the bottom. Continuing to push in now. We've got more root intrusion at the bottom, very light root intrusion, but there's some heavier root intrusion there. We have quite a bit of root intrusion. We're going to pull back a little bit. Looks like we have a hole right off to the right side. Right at that joint, we have a large hole in the vitreous clay piping. We're going to try and push past this. Hopefully it doesn't drop in there. And that's one of the turns right before the city saddle right here. City saddle has shifted quite a bit. You can see the entire face of the fitting. So we're going to continue to push in. And that is the city sewer. So we're at approximately 63 feet 4 inches on the camera monitor. And we're going to pause right here for a moment. Okay, we're in the city sewer, and we're going to pull back very slowly now so we can see the hole in the vitreous clay and the cracks and the root intrusions. No, we're okay. That's just the edge. So we got a large separation and large offset right here. You can see that lip where the saddle, something shifted. The saddle shifted, or the piping more than likely. We're going to pull back a little bit, pull back slow, so hopefully we can see that hole in the pipe again. Making our turn. And this is right at the city sewer tie-in connection. Got a little bit of an offset there, but not terrible. But we do have a very large hole right at the bottom on the right-hand side. That hole, in just a little tiny bit. That hole goes from about the 3 o'clock area where it starts and goes down to about the 6 o'clock area. You got a chunk of piping missing out of there. It's broken. So we're going to continue to pull back now slowly. maybe with that shifting of the saddle and all that, it snapped the pipe right at the joint, snapped a section of pipe off that may have been cracked. Now we've got some, looks like a little bit of root intrusion here. I'm going to pull back, continue to pull back there. Can't see too much there because of the roots. Doesn't look terrible, but we do have a little bit of root intrusion there. I'm going to continue to pull back. I'm getting a little bit of more root intrusion down to the bottom. Not that big a deal. Smaller. Got some hairline roots running along the piping. Can't really see the joints perfectly and the piping perfectly because of the roots. But we're going to continue to pull back. We got that crack. That's that large crack that's up by the 1 o'clock area and feeding in toward the middle of the screen. So we're going to continue to pull out now. We've got quite a bit of root intrusion in here, and we have more back behind it. You can see the roots are stuck to the sides of the pipe. We continue to pull back. And now we have larger root intrusion. We can't see the piping, all of the piping, because of the root intrusion. We have quite a bit in there. We may have another small piece of piping missing out of there. We may have a break in the joint, but you can't tell unless you try to hydrojet that. But hydrojetting this line may be difficult and cause more damage. We're going to continue to pull back. And now we're transitioning here, I believe, to the vitreous clay. I'm going to pause for a moment. Right here, we're at the edge of the transition, so we have approximately a 30-foot lateral. We're going to continue to pull back, and now we're in the ABS plastic. We have viewed all of the ABS plastic going out. And as I said, the ABS plastic appears to be newer. We do have saw cuts in the driveway area and up by the house where it appears that they pulled a new trenchless sewer line by means of pipe bursting. You can see the joints. They have a roll to them. And that is because they're fused together. They're melted together at approximately 500 degrees. So we're going to continue to pull back. And then we're going to relocate our equipment to the crawl space on the rear left-hand side of the house and run our camera through the waistline. We're told that we have cast iron waistline, but we'll find out. Just want to take a look at those. So we're going to continue to pull back. And we are up and out of our mainline sewer cleanout. We're going to pause for a moment, and then we're going to transition. I know.
Define me for a barking dog.
Okay. We have relocated our camera equipment. I think we're upside down. We have relocated our camera equipment to the rear left-hand corner of the house. There's a crawl space. We have an ABS plastic, a 3-inch ABS plastic clean out in the crawl space. We're going to set our camera right at the opening and zero out our camera monitor. Get a good accurate reading from here to the front of the house. We're going to begin running through the ABS plastic, and now we transition almost immediately within 3-4 feet to cast iron. The cast iron has some scaling and is a little bit rough. Right here, not terrible. Cast iron, as I said, does have some scaling and some corrosion, but then again, it is approximately 65 years old and doesn't look to be in terrible condition. This may have been cleaned. You can't really tell. It's difficult, but it looks like there are some swirl marks in there where it may have been hydrojetted or even descaled. They use a tool called a picote tool. It's Picote. And they descale the piping. It has chains on it and swirls. Hold on, we're going to pull back lightly, pull back slowly. We're going to pull back, keep going. We're going to pull back slowly for a moment. Right there. We're going to go in just a tiny bit. Going to pause for a moment. Okay, right here on the right-hand side at about the 3 o'clock area on the screen, we do have some hairline roots. So it tells me that in some areas, the piping could be failing a little bit. You have tree roots, this piping is going underground. We get some minor tree roots coming in, and they will get larger and larger, and they can damage the pipe further. But right now, it's minor, but we're going to continue to push out. Cast iron is either good or it begins to fail and fails. They could probably use Root X, ROOTX, for a period of time. Now that is really restricted right there. That fitting, as you can see, is not round anymore, and it's kind of oblong at an angle from the 1 o'clock area down to the 7 o'clock area. And we're going to continue to go in. It's getting smaller. We have more buildup. This area does not look like it's been cleaned. We have some hairline roots running along the sides of the pipe that you can see. Right there you can see there's some hairline roots running along the side of the piping. Again, when the cast iron begins to fail, it gets pinholes in it, and it's underground. It leaks a little tiny bit, and the roots do grow into the pinholes trying to go after the water. And we have some more small root intrusions on the left-hand side. They're very small at this point, as I said. There's some at the top that are larger a little bit, and they begin to grow in, and then they get larger and larger. Then we transition to a fitting here. We have ABS plastic, and that appears to be our ABS plastic sewer clean out at the front of the house. So we're going to begin pulling back now. We've looked at the entire cast iron waistline. As I said, there's several areas that have some minor root intrusion. Not terrible at this point, but they're beginning to grow in, and they will grow in larger and larger and cause stoppages and cause problems. And then it will begin to collapse. We do have a crack also right in this area in the cast iron, up at about the 10 o'clock area running along the piping. Again, it's common when the piping gets older and starts to get brittle, and it will crack. So it's got a pretty big crack. So we're going to continue to pull back. Now it's kind of hard to see and difficult to tell. That crack's still running along the top of the pipe, like at about the 10 o'clock area now. Can you see this? Pause for a moment. You see that crack right there? Keep pulling out now. Continue to pull out. We're going to continue to pull out now. We got some spider roots, but we also had some cracks in the piping. So we're going to continue to pull out now. We're going to pull back all the way to the end of our ABS plastic 3-inch clean out. And as I said, that's pretty restricted. That area can cause stoppages with paper and such. A little bit rough in that area, so it's going to catch paper and debris. We've got more root intrusion. Like we had some minor cracking. piping is 65 years old. Piping in this era generally lasted about 80 years, so it's toward the end of its life expectancy, and can fail before 80 years. Might last, some sections may last longer, but more than likely they're going to have issues with certain sections of the piping causing stoppages where the roots are growing through and the cracks are in there. They're going to continue to pull back. Pulling back toward our clean out in the crawl space on the rear left hand side of the house. We're still out approximately 20 feet into the waistline. Waistline, this is a cast iron waistline. The waistlines are under the house. They are within the foundation of the walls. And it does the same job as carrying the sewer waste. Once you get approximately 2 feet outside the foundation wall, it transitions to sewer line. But again, it's all one part of the same line. It's just named differently within the perimeter and within the foundation walls. I'm going to continue pulling back. Approximately 8 feet out, 7 feet out, coming back toward our ABS plastic mainline sewer cleanout. And that will conclude our waistline inspection and sewer line inspection. Thank you.